Why, hello there. My name is Mountain, and today I'd like to talk to you about this. And what is this, you might ask? Well, this, my friends, is the Aer City Pack Pro. As the name suggests, this is the Pro variant, and we'll talk about what Pro means here during this video. A variant of the City Pack, which is an EDC, city-oriented, very popular kind of EDC bag released by Aer, and that's the San Francisco-based manufacturer of some really cool bags that I've reviewed on the channel here before. So this is like the Pro variant of that bag, and Pro here generally meaning it can carry a bit more stuff and it has slightly different kind of organization. Now, its main claim to fame here is that it is like a really well executed, classic, Aer designed, Aer take on like the 24-liter clamshell EDC daily urban use bag. And this is like a very popular and well-worn and very popular for good reason, category of bag for most bag manufacturers out there. And I would opine most people in this world have either own or have considered some bag of this particular genre in the past year. It's also maybe slightly for fans of Aer, at least, like this is actually, I believe, their first non-travel oriented full clamshell style opening bag in their lineup. They certainly have like others like the Aer travel packs or travel pack smalls that open up as full clamshell, but this is the first non-travel version of that one that I believe. It's all other maybe claim to fame here is that it is slightly, for fans of like the original City Pack, like this one actually can hold more chunkier things or bulkier things that I've kind of shown you. The original City Pack was quite a svelte, high and tight type of bag here. Now, in terms of, maybe opportunities or areas of that could be a little bit more refined in this bag, I think the first one is while the original Aer City Pack was like this super fresh and really well, you occupied a very unique and very focused space, I think, in Aer's lineup. This one does lose a little bit of the charm, in my opinion, of the original because it's just a little bit, chunkier, a little bit bigger. It's like the classic 24-liter EDC clamshell space is a very well-worn space. There are other bags in their lineup that's a little bit similar, not clamshell style, but like the Tech Pack or the Day Pack 2, etc. are going to be, somewhat similar here. That's okay though. It's still a very useful bag. It's just sort of, it does maybe, I think, blur the focus a little bit more. It also has, in my opinion, slightly less useful internal organization, lesser or slightly less useful internal organization, and we'll talk about all that, when we get into the bag here, than the original City Pack, which itself had, a fairly high degree of internal organization. This one has some, but it's not quite as much or as useful, in my opinion, as the original City Pack. And then finally, and this is again more of a personal kind of take on it, I find the placement of the key leash, which is located inside of this side zipper pocket, to be slightly less useful than the original Aer City Pack, which had it inside of this dump pocket in the front here. But anyway, all of those things aside, I think this is actually a pretty cool bag. It is available at the time of this recording for $209 on the Aer US website. Available in 4 different colors and material ways. There's going to be the black Cordura, which is what this one is. There's going to be olive gray, and then there's an X-Pack variant here. And I'd like to take a moment to thank Aer for sending this bag over for review. All the opinions expressed are my own. I've been using this bag for a few weeks here. Aer's not going to have a chance to see this video until it goes live, same as all of you. So next, let's talk about who this bag is for and who it's not for. So in terms of who this bag is for, well, obviously, if you're a fan of the original Aer City Pack and you liked everything about it, but you just wish you had the ability to carry slightly more bulkier things or larger things inside of here, well then, my friends, your moment has arrived. This obviously has a lot of the same styling cues and kind of general approach and occupies a somewhat similar space, but it just has the space inside for big chunky items that I've already kind of previously shown you a few times here. Similarly, if you are a fan of if you're in the market for a classic 24-liter clamshell style opening EDC pack, and I believe most people in this world either have one or are in the market for one of something along those lines, then this is going to be a great take on that genre, and that's definitely worth checking out. Now, in terms of who this bag is not for, so maybe you can take the opposite of what I just said. If you like the svelte and compact form factor of the original Aer City Pack and how svelte that was, then this might not be the right one for you, because it is a bit of a chunky boy. Like, it's not a huge bag, but it definitely, like, when it's kind of filled out, like you can see it becomes dense and a bit chunky, and it starts to kind of, you know, like cross the territory of like the Aer Tech Pack or the Aer City, Day Pack 2, which are themselves kind of bigger, chunkier, you know, kind of bags here. And also, like, if you're a person who loves like all the really high degree of internal organization that most Aer urban use or city use, you know, work use bags have, and they tend to have like lots of panels with tons of like pockets for everything and all your different devices and pens and wallets and all these things. This one definitely has internal organization. Don't get me wrong, there is, you know, a decent amount of internal organization, both inside of this top pocket, and then obviously you've got like these front dump pockets and stuff, and then even, you know, you got your top stash pockets, etc., separate laptop compartment. But in my opinion, it does have somewhat less organization internally than the original Aer City Pack, certainly, and compared to a lot of the other bags in Aer's lineup. I really think, like, you know, you're trading off some of that for that larger central clamshell loading compartment here. So next, let's talk about the exterior of this bag and the design. So first and foremost, like, I've reviewed quite a few Aer bags on the channel. I think a lot of people who are watching this video will be familiar with it. If you're not, the thing to know is, like, it's generally like high quality, you know, Cordura, ballistic nylon, little bits of Hypalon, accents here or there, you know, decent, you know, high quality zippers and zipper pulls and all that. It's like very, I think what I've referred to it in the past is like, it's like very, probably the best you can get at a generally consumer price point, or among the best you can get at a, you know, general consumer price point. What that means is, like, you're not going to find exotic materials like Dyneema or, like, you know, super hot, like, I mean, you will get very good in material. These are great materials, very robust, well executed. I have dozens of Aer bags. They're going to last you a long time here. Now you can see right away, as this bag does stand up on its own, and that actually gives me this opportunity to compare it to a couple of other bags that I think it draws inspiration from. First and foremost is, obviously, this is the original Aer City Pack that I reviewed previously on my channel. I'll link that video on the channel below here. You can see, like, there's a difference in the size right away. Like, this one I think was 14 liters. This one's 24 liters here. And you can definitely see, like, you know, the difference is not so much in the height, but it definitely is in the side profile there, just how much more chunky the Pro variant is here. But you also see, like, a lot of the other cues just carry over. External water bottle pockets, or water bottle pocket, the securing D-ring to, you know, if you want to lash something inside this pocket. Kind of the general kind of front approach here. Same kind of top level view, view of how the bags open. And then once you get on the inside, the differences do start to, become a little bit lesser. As an example here, we open up the original City Pack, and I think here you can see why I was saying, like, this one, for example, only the Pro only opens down to here, and it only has a couple of internal organization boxes, whereas this one has a huge variety of them and more down at the bottom here, and an extra pocket back here, and this zip. Anyway, so, and then the other obvious thing is this one has, like, it only half opens, and then there's different pockets here, an internal laptop compartment, whereas on the Pro variant, if we open it up here, there is an externally accessible laptop compartment with a separate tablet pocket that we'll show you here in a moment. And then you have, like, that, which I've shown you a few times here on this video, like this big internal central compartment. You'll see there's also a different kind of organization on the inside front flap of the Pro. This is a very common, like, two pocket organization on the inside front flap, whereas in the original City variant, we open this up, you can see there's not that, but there's, you know, 2, 3, 4, sorry, 1, 2, and then this big elastic pocket here. So anyway, that's kind of like the most obvious, you know, not only because it's the same family name, area for which, you know, like, I think the external design reminds you of. But the other thing that I kind of found interesting is it does remind me, if the Pro is a larger version of the City, it also in some ways reminds me of a smaller version of the Aer Travel Pack V3 Small. This is the Aer Travel Pack V3 Small. great bag. And you can see, like, again, very similar cues. I mean, partially that's because Aer, has a very distinct design aesthetic, in my opinion. But you can also see, like, it's almost like a slightly shrunken down, more EDC, urban friendly type variation of what you have in the Aer Travel Pack Small, which is itself a smaller version of the Aer Travel Pack Large. And most importantly, like, I think when we flip open the main compartments here, you notice right away it's the same thing. Like, it's these big clamshell loading style bags with like a internal front or internal compartment, stretch mesh pocket. Same thing here on the Aer City Pack Pro, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting how you can see, it kind of fits in between several different other bags in Aer's lineups. And while I don't have the Tech Pack or the Day Pack here, I think if you look online, you'll see, like, it's also kind of maybe in terms of spacing and potential use cases, occupying a similar area, pardon me, as those bags. And that's what I meant when I said, like, I think the original Aer City Pack was like this very well, like, it was a very interesting and well focused and high and tight and super dense and compact, lots of organization kind of bag. And this one is kind of loses a little bit of that focus, but still is obviously like a very useful and design, classic, again, 24-liter type of, like, stands up on its own, sort of boxy, still has good organization kind of bag. So that's kind of what I think is most notable about this bag's exterior, the materials, the design, and kind of how it sits in line with the different kinds of products offered in Aer's lineup. Next, let's talk about the load carriage on this bag. It is pretty straightforward. In the original Aer City Pack, one of the things I talked about in my review of it is they seem to borrow a little bit from, like, the Evergoods has, like, this very, like, they're kind of well known for their, let's see if we can put it on the side here. The original, like, Evergoods is known for kind of having, like, this yoke that kind of contours to your shoulders, and then the Aer City Pack original was the first time I saw Aer kind of bring in that idea of a yoke. And then, like I said, this pack tends to ride kind of high and tight. It's a very kind of fairly compact pack, so, like, it actually kind of hugs your shoulders a lot. I really liked the way that this bag wore and the way it kind of, like, was kind of giving me this high and tight wear that contoured well. You do still have that yoke here on the Aer City Pack Pro. It just maybe gets a little bit more overwhelmed by the overall, visually, I mean, I guess, by the overall increase in depth or bulk in this bag here. It does still wear, fairly close to the bag if you cinch it up tight, but because the bag is kind of just deeper, like, you do have more weight hanging off of you. So I found that the high and tightness in practice when being worn was not as much as with the original City Pack, which just kind of brings everything much closer to the body. It's not a bad fit, it's just sort of in between, I would say, in my experience, what I would experience with, like, the Evergood Civic Panel Loader 24, which is a bag that I use a lot and I'm a big fan of, and what I would get out of something like a normal Aer backpack, like the Day Pack 2 or the Tech Pack or something like that, which doesn't have any of this yoke here. So it is a little bit, it certainly wasn't like like the Aer City Pack original, where I really felt it was, like, really dialed in and I could just move with me a bit. Totally fine. The shoulder straps are going to be almost exactly, or maybe they are exactly, like, I couldn't really feel any difference. The same as you get in most other Aer backpacks of this kind of urban style use. Very similar to what you saw in the original Aer City Pack here as well. A ring for, like, securing, like, if you have an extra pocket or something you want to strap on here, I need to secure to the top here. Adjustable sternum strap, very nice and straightforward, strap connected with a sliding buckle. The sternum strap is removable if you need to. Speaking of which, sternum strap has it has a fidlock buckle, which I like, and it has built-in strap keepers here for preventing your excess strap dangle. I love that. You have that also here. Just very simple, well executed shoulder straps here, and they're certainly sufficient for the kind of loads that I was carrying in a 24-liter bag here. If I flip these back here for a second, you can see the standard Aer mesh that you have both here on the back panel. It's also the same that you have on the back of the shoulder straps here. There's nothing too fancy going on here. There's a center groove kind of for some ventilation, and then just like some, decently squishy foam. This is not my favorite back panel in the world. It's also certainly not terrible by any means. It is a very competent and simple and well executed back panel. Same thing with the Aer mesh. Like in general, there are superior, in my opinion, back mesh solutions. Like I'm a huge fan of the new Evergood's back material that they have. I recently talked about that in my review of like the Civic Access Pouch 2 or whatever. But like as far as Aer meshes go, like this is actually is Aer. Like Aer meshes go. This is Aer, A-E-R, the company, and they generally just do a good job with decent, high quality materials. Last thing to note here is you have this center pass through, which you can use to run the luggage trolley through, or I sometimes would use to pick up the bag. If it, flops down like this, I just pick it up, and it's kind of easy to portage it like this if you're moving it from a bed or something like that. Very good. One thing that is missing from this bag in terms of load carriage that was present that I loved a lot on the original City Pack was the side handle. I love side handles on bags like this. I don't mean to keep name checking Evergoods here, but I think that, and we'll talk about this at the end, like I think that the Evergood CPL24 is going to be like an obvious alternative or competitor to this bag. So that's why I'm kind of referencing these things. I love the side handle on the original City Pack. I miss that it's actually gone on this one. It's okay though. It's still like there's still plenty of places. Well, there's just one big thick, well padded top handle. Very simple, simple execution, but very competent, easy to grab with gloves on. You do have like some pockets and stuff and some zippers going on the top, but because you've got such a wide, path and it's kind of just elevated up a little bit, like it's still super easy to grab without getting like caught or knocking your knuckles or whatever. The point of load, the top is also kind of inline, so I found it was really easy to have this bag without having to carry it myself, without having to cant or whatever off there. And that's really it in terms of the load carriage on this bag. A little bit simpler, a little bit more pared back than the original City Pack here. So next, let's talk about the exterior pockets on this bag. The first one to talk about is going to be the side water bottle pocket. It is very similar to the one that we had on the original Aer, if not exactly identical, maybe just slightly different size. The original Aer City Pack here. Hidden gusset in there. No stretch mesh or whatever, but it just kind of lays flat and stays out of the way when you're not using it. And you can easily slide in, like a normal sized, like a water bottle or something, like insulated water bottle or something like that on the outside of the bag. Now, one of the things that's always important, I think, when you're looking at water bottle pockets is to understand how the volume works, especially for non-mesh water bottle pockets. So you can see on the inside of the bag, it does intrude in a little bit, but you have a fairly high amount of capacity in this bag anyway, in the central opening. And because there is this elastic at the back, at the bottom here, it can technically push outward of the bag. We're super packed out on the inside here. So in general, I really like this water bottle pocket, very well executed, and it tends to hold normal sized water bottles, in a secure way while still being able to easily get it in and out here. This one is 473 milliliters there. There is also this ring at the top here. The way that I use this ring is if I run a tripod or something in here, then what I'm able to do is I'm able to take, let's see if I can get this on camera here. What I'm able to do is, you can run a cord or something like that and secure the top of the tripod to this thing, or a carabiner or something like that. So I really like the addition of this ring here. I thought that was a nice little touch. It's in a lot of the airbags, but I just wanted to call it out on this one here. The next kind of external pocket to look at is going to be this front dump pocket, standard Aer usage of a storm guard zipper for looks. I say for looks because the bag itself is not waterproof. And this particular pocket has a slight difference. In the original City Pack, they had the key leash inside of here. In this one, it is just a slightly tight dump pocket here. What I have in here is a cat towel, because you never know when you need a cat towel. And then I have a couple of masks in here, and that's it. It is a little, oh, actually, no, sorry, I have like a cleaning cloth in here. It is a little bit of a tighter pocket, and it runs the bottom half of the front of the bag. It's a little bit of a tighter bag fit in there that I would have loved to have a little bit more leeway. The original City Pack also had a little bit of a tightness to this pocket. I think more than anything, it's because of how the inside now also has a pocket on the back here like this. They kind of fight for space, and that's why I felt it was a little bit tighter, especially if I had bulky stuff inside of here. But still very, very usable. We're not talking like Go Ruck, you know, GR1, GR2 levels of unusability. It's a very fine, competent dump pocket. I personally wish the key leash were still inside of here like it was on the original Aer City Pack, because this was like a very like handy place for me in my experience to be able to have the keys. Then the other external pocket to talk about, there's a couple more, is this top quick stash pocket. Common to a lot of airbags here, you've got a reverse coiled zipper, a little Hypalon garage, and a lay flat locking in terms of locks flat zipper. Then lets you have this access to this kind of well padded, cushioned, kind of fiber, smooth, whatever microfiber, I don't know what the word is, padded and felted internal pocket, which is fairly generous. I have in here an iPod 14, no, sorry, an iPhone 14 Pro fits in there normally. A larger phone will also fit in there. You have space for other stuff in there if you'd like. And when we look at the inside of this bag, you can see here is the internal, here's what it looks like on the inside here. Personally, I'm annoyed by this. The original City Pack also had this, but it was on the front pocket, the front half of the. It was in the front half of the clamshell, or not even clamshell, the half zip. So it didn't really intrude on me, because like I would open the bag and I'd be loading my laptop in and out here, or like stuff here, and then like there's only these two bottom pockets. So like it didn't really interfere with things, so it was okay. In this City Pack Pro, I just found it a lot fuzzier, because like a clamshell invites you to load a bag open, or flip a bag open like this and load stuff in here. You can see I have stuff in here, but it gets kind of in the way because you have your phone in here and it becomes this hard, flappy thing here. Anyway, it's not the end of the world. This just annoys me a little bit. I wish it were like either sewn to the back so it wouldn't flop around like that, or if they had found a way of like running it in between the laptop and the main compartment. I think I would have liked that a little better, but it's perfectly fine, right? The other external pocket to talk about here is this side zip pocket here, inside of which there's actually a key leash on the inside here, which just a simple, standard like key leash clip. And then a little bit of space kind of intrudes towards the inside here. You can, tuck your keys, clip your keys in there. I personally, as I mentioned before, I found this one a little bit harder to use. I just found it a little bit tighter. The obvious intended, use case for locating, I think, the keys here is what happens is you've got the backpack on, you get to the destination, you sling it over your shoulder like this, plug this open, pull your keys out, and fish with it. I found the key leash was a little bit too short to kind of reach the door the way I needed, especially because this is a bigger bag, so you're encouraged to put heavier stuff in there. So kind of like just really bulky and kind of like weighs down. I just found it was pulling too much against it. I wish that the key leash was longer or more elastic, or else they had just kept it in the front pocket or something like that. Anyway, that was just my experience. The key leash, but I'm glad that it's there, and it is, kind of handy to have that. And then the zipper is very low profile. So now let's talk about what I'm going to refer to as the compartments of the main compartments of the bag. And first is this front pocket here that is a half height pocket, and it has only one single zip, and it goes like this. And if you flip it open, you get access to this kind of area that has a bit of a, it can be hard to see here, but it has a bit of a shelf. I'll take this out so you can see it a little bit more. Actually, I'll flip it around. Front of the bag, back of the bag, and you can kind of see here, gray contrast stitching, and then it kind of goes down to about halfway. It gives you a little bit, it has some depth to it, so it's like a little bit of a shelf. And this is where I've seen pockets like this a lot in some travel bags, like some of the Cotopaxi travel bags, or like the Evergoods Civic Travel Bag 26 or 35. Those have this kind of top dumpy type pocket here, or some variant. This is very nice, and we'll talk about what I had in here in a second. But let's talk about, besides this big kind of main dump area, you also have a couple of internal pockets here. You have a stretch little pocket in the front here, in which I have just my Master and Dynamics headphones, wireless earbuds. You have, this is not a pocket, this is, and I don't quite know why this is here. There's just one zipper pocket, and then half of it is mesh for some reason. It's not bad, and maybe it is improving the functionality in a way that I haven't detected yet, but it just seemed a little bit odd to me to have that in there. Inside of this big internal zipper pocket, I have like some AirPod, AirPod Pros or whatever those are, because apparently I need 2 pairs of wireless 3 pairs of earbuds, earphones for some reason. And I have like some cough drops, and then like some hand sanitizer and chapstick, and then like some eye drops or whatever. So I kind of treat this like, a dump pocket inside of the dump pocket for stuff I need access to, but like I want to keep out of the way. And then what I think is most useful and handy about this organization is it lets you have a place to store things, bulkier things like, here are my H95s or whatever they are. And so if you have kind of bulkier, like noise canceling headphones, like what you can do is you can just like fold them up, toss them in here. They're off the ground, like so up here, they're off the ground. So they're not like banging against, thing when you set down the bag or whatever, a little bit protected. And it's really easy to set this bag down. Again, this bag stands up on its own. Next to you in a cafe, zip this open, grab your headphones, maybe grab your little essentials here and there. You've got this kind of zippered pocket, as I mentioned, for a little bit of additional security, put all your stuff in here. I don't know, I kind of like that. I thought this was sort of a handy feature. I didn't love it at first, but it's grown on me a lot. And I like that this bag is experimenting with that in an EDC context, which with that meaning like a feature that I think we more commonly associate with travel bags, or at least I did. I like that it's experimenting with that in an EDC context, and I like that it's, there's some Thule bags I think that also have like this hard part of the front that like flips open. Some camera bags do like that, but anyways, it's kind of interesting, like an easy access area for slightly bulkier things like headphones. So the next external compartment we'll talk about is the external laptop compartment. And what's interesting is usually I found in airbags, they usually just use like one storm guard zipper or aqua guard zipper. This one they actually have 2, unless you're on the X-Pack variants, and they use them all over. But in this one, they have 2. The original City Pack had an internal laptop compartment first of all, but this one has an external one. This is a 16-inch MacBook Pro, the newer ones, I forget, like the M1 Maxes or whatever they're called. Fits in here, suspended off, like false bottom, suspended off the bottom, well padded. You could probably fit this is 16 inches, actually pushing up towards the corners. You could probably fit a slightly larger one. There is some amount of depth in this compartment, but in this overall compartment, but the actual padded part is kind of sized for like MacBook sized, or slightly thick, ever so slightly thicker laptops. If you have like a big, Alienware, something like that, it's not going to fit in this part, but it might fit in the container overall. Anyway, taking this out here, and we flip the bag around, front of the bag, back of the bag. We have the padded laptop area with like this nice same kind of soft felt foam thing. And then you have an additional compartment here at the bottom, elasticated loosely. I have just an iPad mini inside of there. And it fits in there quite nicely. You can also fit your business papers, in there if you want. And you do also technically have the rest of this compartment where you could kind of like stuff like a folder or something long and flat inside of there if you wanted to. Goes in there. And then that's kind of it for the front 2, and then there's the main compartment is the one that's left. And so I've shown you this a few times through this video, but if we flip this open, now we're in the main compartment of this bag here. And let's start with the front flap here. Now, much like other bags that I've talked about in the past that put weight on the outside of the top of this, Evergood Civic half zip 26 or 22 is one that comes to mind that has the infamous duck bill. There are certainly others, like maybe, I don't mean to keep name checking Evergoods, but like the Mountain Panel Loader 30, whatever, also has a lot of weight in like the kangaroo pocket and stuff up here. What happens is, because this is carrying weight, like the headphone stuff up there, like the lid is quite heavy, right? Like I did say, like it doesn't bang against the ground when you set it up and down, but you gotta be careful when you flip this open, otherwise you're gonna smack your headphones or whatever you have in here. So I found that the lid became a little bit heavier and more unwieldy than I'm used to in, like, you know, panel loading bags, but it's still not bad here. This is a very classic kind of internal organization of a front lid pocket. You have a top one, you have a bottom one. The bottom one here has, like, like a notebook in there, and I think I have like a toothbrush set and like some hand lotion or something like that. And the top one is elasticated, and inside of here I have, like, a wallet and a couple different wallets and some coins and stuff like that, or like, a card holder or whatever. You can see here that this inside and outside of the lid pocket fight for space. You can see it's kind of bulging out like this, which is why I presume they're using elastic here as opposed to like mesh, which a lot of bags do. And then this one I've talked about also kind of competes for space with the outside. It made it feel a little bit frictionful for me when I was kind of using this, and I found like I just didn't like this internal arrangement as much as I like that in some other bags, but it's certainly not unusable by any stretch of the imagination. It obviously carries what you need, and it's got a lot of useful stuff in there, a lot of useful, organization. It's something I noticed versus some of the others. It did feel a little bit, I kind of wish there was like maybe mesh at this bottom one with a little bit of volume, as opposed to like this flat, non-stretchy. I think that's really what it is this is like a flat, non-stretchy fabric. It doesn't stretch. This one stretches. This one doesn't stretch. So you really have like these two non-stretching fabrics, and they're fighting for space against each other. Whereas at least like a mesh with some dimension, it would puff into the inside. And on this one, obviously the mesh helps a little bit. It just feels a little bit tight. Anyway, moving over to the inside of the bag, this is the main compartment. I've already talked about how this part kind of annoyed me a little bit with how it kind of gets stuck, and I'll show you that here in a second. One of the benefits of this bag, as I said, is I think you can carry bulky things in here. So I have like my Evergoods cap one, Civic Access Pouch one, with all the different things and stuff inside of it, chargers and cables and stuff fits nicely in there. I've got a Leica Q2 here in a neoprene case. That's something that I thought was super, like I could not have carried that in the City Pack original, but this one, it's like no problem to throw it in there. As an example, it's raining these days, so it's like super easy to roll up like a rain shell, throw that in there. You can see there's plenty of space or whatever here. And then I have here like a folder for like papers, business papers, part 2. Inside of there, easily fits in there. This is also the part where I was kind of saying like it gets annoying because it kind of like, gets trapped under here, or else it's laying awkwardly on top of there. And then when you fish out your phone, then sometimes it flaps over. Anyway, that's a little bit of annoyance I talked about. And then you also have in the back here, one more long flat stretch pocket. Inside of there, I just have like a Magpul, excuse me, pouch with some masks inside of here, and I don't think I have anything else in here. And that's really it. Like the rest of it is like this kind of long center or main compartment here. The side walls do collapse a little bit because there's no like sidewall structure, and this is a softer material. It's still fairly easy to load, and I previously talked to you about like what happens when you put the water bottle in here. And then one other little hidden detail here is in most of these modern Aer packs, behind the front, behind the quick stash pocket inside here, you have this little stretch part where you can toss an Aer tag if you want to track your bag. And so like really kind of that covers, the central compartment of this bag. And as you can see, it's super easy to load because of the clamshell. And then obviously like with all clamshells, you can, half zip this if you don't want to flop the whole thing open kind of like half crank it like this and to get in and out of the bag. You don't have to like flop it all the way open. And so really that is it. Overall, like I said, this is a really, nice take on a classic genre category, 24 liter clamshell day pack EDC space, classic, good Aer, classic Aer aesthetic and materials and good execution and all that. So definitely worth checking out. If you are in the market for a bag like this though, what are some other bags that you might want to check out? First and foremost, obviously the Aer City Pack Original is going to be a close competitor or a close alternative. If you just want a smaller version of this one, I've done a full review of this and I just compared it on this video here. So go ahead and take a look at that. It's linked in the description below. The other obvious competitor, in my opinion, is going to be something like the Evergood Civic Panel Loader 24. I love this bag quite a lot. I've referenced it several times during the recording of the video because I think that these bags are occupying a very similar space, and they're both from two really good powerhouses in the carry world here. The Evergood CPL 24, this is the V3 with the material here, the new back material here. I think same genre space. Let's talk about some of its features, and then you can kind of like, go back and think about what I've mentioned here. It's like there's this, same clamshell loading, same 24 liters capacity. I like the materials on this one slightly better. I just love Evergood's materials. These are also really solid though here. Front zip pocket runs the full length of the bag, and inside you have some additional, organization inside of here for your phone, pens, zipper pocket here for extra organization, etc. here. Then you have no water bottle pockets on the outside, and that's one of the weaknesses, I would say, or a common criticism, excuse me, of the Evergood's bags here is no external water bottle pocket. You see this nice side handle. Like I said, I like side handles on these. Have that on the original City Pack, not on the City Pack Pro here. Full clamshell style opening like this, and then again you can see similar approach, two-part bifurcated inner lid pocket, though obviously this is a larger mesh area. And then there's no stretch on this one here. I think there's just a little bit more dimensioning and independent leaderage on the outside of this one, which prevents the back and forth fighting that you see on the Aer, but obviously the Aer has a lot more organization for like small bits and bobs than this one does here. And then you've just got like this long central compartment here with a stretch mesh here, and then these non-MOLLE but MOLLE-like loops here for you to do some stuff with. And then on the back of this you have, or on the side of this you have a long compartment here which has an independent laptop area which fits a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and then you have the very famous like Evergood's top yoke pocket area with the key leash, and then you've got like the Evergood's yoke I was kind of talking to you about when I was talking about sorry, let me zip this up real quick, about the Aer bag earlier. It's this nice yoke, and then like great Aer mesh material on the back here, or not Aer mesh, but like this great, I don't remember what they call this, 3D hybrid something or other. I really like this material. It's probably my favorite back Aer wicking cushioning material out there, and really nice shoulder straps that I think are really nice and ergonomic and tight, but classic buckle here, no like hyperlock, no fidlock or whatever, and then just handles all around the bag here. So overall, this is a really great bag in my opinion. It's one of my favorite bags ever, like this whole line of bags. I think that they both occupy the space. They're both great bags. Another interesting bag to look at maybe is the Mystery Ranch District 24. Obviously, same, general leaderage, kind of a clamshell style opening bag. And I say kind of because this bag is kind of cool. Besides the orange on black, which is quite popular these days, this bag has this cool feature where it has like some bifurcation. So it's sort of like the original City Pack, and like it had like some divided, pockets on the inside, but then it does this cool thing where you can actually open up the bifurcation and then panel and fold it flat, and it becomes like this full clamshell loading thing. That's actually really cool. I've never seen this in any other bag, and it was interesting coming from Mystery Ranch. Side water bottle pocket. You've got actually similarly, not quite, but like a top loading kind of area that actually can run the full length of the bag. You can see there's actually an interesting amount of like internal organization on this bag as well. This is the front dump quick stash pocket here, and then this is the front, like front area that rips open as well, has some organization. And then on the inside of the bag as well, you've got like a bit of organization in this front panel and laptop and tablet container. Anyway, super interesting bag coming from Mystery Ranch. Also worth checking out. And so that, my friends, is it. If you have any questions about this bag, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. And if I can, I will answer them. And if you have any bags you would like me to review, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. And if I can, I will review those. Thank you very much.